Is it now illegal to sell private firearms? If you're just a person, you want to sell a gun, is it now illegal under this new rule? Well, let's look a little bit deeper and find out. What's up, everyone out there in YouTube world, Facebook world, social media world? Welcome to another episode of Musings with MGL. I'm your host, as always, MGL. Let's get right into it today. So, a lot of freaking out going on out there about this new ATF rule. I keep getting messages every day. Hey, does this mean we can't private sell guns? Does this mean we can't private sell guns? Now, I did a video a few weeks ago kind of giving you my idea of whether it actually changes things or doesn't changes things. So you can go back and check that video. That being said, there are some things that we need to look at here to figure out why everybody's freaked out and whether they have a right to be freaked out or not a right to be freaked out. So what do I mean by that? Okay. I don't want to go through the entire rule again, but essentially the confusion is what now makes me a dealer. It used to be everybody just thought we know what a dealer is. It's somebody who buys and sells guns for profit, okay? And even though it could be as little as one gun, generally profit was kind of the main thing that people looked at. If I'm a dealer, I'm buying and selling guns for money. So if I'm not making any money off of them or whatever, I can't be a dealer. So therein basically lies the rub where they've changed the rule now that basically says you don't even have to be doing it for profit. You can exchange it for cash, credit cards, barter it for services, whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be for profit. It's just basically a transfer of a firearm from one person to another. Now basically could make you engaged in the business. And the biggest concern coming out of it is this set of presumptions. So they came out with a list of things that they believe if you meet, then there's a presumption that you're a dealer. Now it's a rebuttable presumption, which means you as the guilty, presumed innocent person has to come into court and prove that you're not engaged in any of these things and that you're not engaged in the business. So they've shifted the burden from them having to prove that you were engaged in a business to now saying if you do these set of things, there's a presumption that you're engaged in business and you have to come to court and rebut our presumption to prove that you're not engaged in business. So that's one of the biggest concerns that I have as a defense attorney about this is it's clearly shifted the burden. The other concern is this list of presumptions is ridiculous. It basically covers anything and everything. So we're going to go through them here. I'm going to read through them and let you know what they are. So that way you have an idea of whether you meet any of these presumptions or not. Now, this is straight from the ATF website. Anybody can go there and look it up. But this is basically it. So rather than establishing a minimum threshold number of firearms purchased or sold, this rule proposes to clarify that, absent reliable evidence to the contrary, a person will be presumed to be engaged in the business of dealing in firearms when the person, and then here's all your list, sells or offers for sale firearms and also represents to potential buyers or otherwise demonstrates a willingness and ability to purchase and sell additional firearms, spends more money or its equivalent on purchases of firearms for the purpose of resale than the person's reported taxable gross income during the applicable period of time, repeatedly purchases for the purpose of resale or sells or offers for sale firearms through a straw or sham business or individual straw purchases or sellers, or that cannot lawfully be purchased, possessed, including stolen firearms, firearms license, yada, yada, yada. Repetitively sells or offers for sale firearms, A, within 30 days after they were purchased, B, that are new or like new in their original packaging, or that are the same or similar kind, i.e. make, manufacturer, model, caliber, gauge, and action, and type, revolver, shotgun, etc., etc. Who, as a former licensee or responsible person acting on behalf of a former licensee, sells or offers for sale firearms that were in the business inventory of such licensee at the time the license was terminated. Who, as a former licensee, sells or offers for sale firearms that were transferred to a personal collection of such former licensee or responsible person prior to the time the license was terminated. Anyone, or a combination of the circumstances above gives rise to a presumption in civil and administrative proceedings that the person is engaged in the business of dealing in firearms and must be licensed under GCA. The activities set forth in these rebuttable presumptions are not exhaustive of the conduct. So that's not it. It could be more than that if they want to. that may show that or be considered in determining whether a person is engaged in the business of dealing in firearms. Further, as noted above, while the criteria may be useful to courts in criminal cases when instructing juries regarding permissible inferences, the presumptions outlined above shall not apply to criminal cases. So, as it says, this is for the administrative process. But understanding it's going to be used in a criminal court. At the same time, the department recognizes that certain transactions are not likely to be sufficient to support a presumption that a person is engaging in the business of dealing in firearms. For this reason, the proposed rule also includes example of when a person is not presumed to be engaged in the business of dealing in firearms. Specifically, under this proposed rule, a person would not be presumed to be engaged in the business of requiring a license as a dealer when the person transfers firearms only as a bona fide gifts or occasionally sells firearms only to obtain more valuable, desirable, or useful firearms for their personal collection or hobby, unless their conduct also demonstrates a predominant intent to earn a profit. So, does that mean you can't sell individual firearms anymore? No. In my opinion, again, the answer is no. I think a lot of the hype about this is overblown. There's a lot of scare stuff going on out there. There's a lot of things that I think people are doing to get clickbait. Now, do I trust the Biden administration to liberally interpret this? Absolutely not. Do I trust the Department of Justice to not be looking to make examples out of people in the future? Absolutely not. So, tread lightly. Do what you got to do. But I don't believe that the new rule means that if you have a firearm that you no longer want in your collection, that you can't sell that to your buddy or sell that to your neighbor or even technically sell it at a gun show if you are truly getting rid of your personal collection for the purpose of maybe buying better firearms. So most of the normal trading that you see amongst your friends and your groups about, hey, I bought this gun, I've shot it, I don't really like it, I want to sell it because I'm interested in something else, you're going to be able to do that. It actually, in this rule specifically says you're allowed to do that. And if I was a defense attorney and somebody was charged criminally, then I would bring up this rule and say, hey, what my guy was doing falls under this. So I don't believe that what you've been just doing as a single individual, if you're honestly just trying to sell a gun you don't like and get a new gun or whatever, you're going to be fine with that. If you are, however, one of these people, and I've said it before, at the end of the aisle at the gun show who puts 30 guns out there and says it's their personal collection, but then will also buy the gun off of you walking down the thing and give you $200 for it and then turn around and put it on their table for $400 and claim it's their personal collection, I think those people are probably engaged in the business of selling firearms and probably always have been, and even under the previous rule would have been able to be criminally charged for that. So although this rule does expand the definition, it does put these presumptions in there. The presumptions, according to the rule, don't apply in criminal courts, and there's still an exception to, I believe, cover your basic stuff. Now, again, the problem is nobody trusts the ATF. I don't. Nobody trusts the ATF and the Department of Justice to stick with these rules and then not be looking to make examples out of somebody. So the only advice I'll give you is, just be wary, be careful. Obviously, you should only sell to people you know anyway, just to protect yourself from a liability standpoint. And as long as you're doing it for legitimate purposes, I don't think they're going to be harassing every little guy on the street. But if you're somebody who sells lots of firearms in bulk, or you're going around to these gun shows, they may start sending some undercover agents to these gun shows to be looking to make examples out of people. So that's the best advice I can give you. I'm not going to tell you it's illegal for you to sell your private firearms, because it is not. I'm not going to tell you that you should go out there and continue to sell a whole bunch of firearms and make some money off of it, because you probably shouldn't. So all I'm here to do is give you information. What you do with that information is up to you. So you can go to the ATF website, you can look at the rule, you can read it, you can go through all the presumptions that I just put in there. If you meet any of those presumptions, you're going to have a problem. If you don't, I still think you're going to be okay, with the caveat that, again, I don't trust this government whatsoever in its current incarceration. So just keep that in mind. So as always, please like, subscribe, share, comment down below. It really helps out the algorithm. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay vigilant, and as always, carry on.